just landed in Abu Dhabi. Pretty tired.
Meat Boy MMA has the content.
Let's go, boys. UFC 321, episode 234. Let's jump into these locks. We are at Yas Island, back to Abu Dhabi, and it's a stacked card for this weekend, so we're jumping right into it. Inbound, boys, let's rip these. It's UFC 321. Obviously, it's Glanzberg affair this weekend, but the lock shall persist. Meat will be back next weekend, but he's AFK for now, and it's UFC 321 from Abu Dhabi this weekend. A stacked card, a couple of title fights. Before we jump into this week's locks, last week was UFC BC. Your boy went 1-4, got absolutely smoked. Meat killed it, went 4-1. The Meatlock was Kevin Holland, and he dominated the first round, almost had Mike Malott finished. Everything was looking great, going as planned, and then Mike Malott hit Kevin Holland with a groin shot, and essentially Kevin was unable to continue, but decided to continue. It was a strange circumstance where Kevin Holland took the 5 minutes. The doctors, the refs were asking him if he was good to go. He wasn't giving them a definitive yes or no. He clearly was moving around not great, and decided to stick it out, gut it out, tough it out, and ultimately lost the next 2 rounds because he couldn't move. So it was a bad beat, Meatlock. A groin shot, Malott, spoiled Meatlock essentially, but nonetheless, we think he probably would have got that one done if the groin shot never happened. But either way, it's an L for us officially, brings our record to 126 and 84, and takes us into this week's Meatlock, which should be in absolute lock. It's the homie Azameat Murlockanov taking on Alexander Rakic, and obviously we have plenty of respect for Rakic. This is a dude who's fought everyone at 205, has some brilliant wins, has basically losses that aren't bad. So it's a tough level test matchup, but we do believe that Azameat Murlockanov simply is more well-rounded. He's peaking. This is a dude who is coming in with a lot of hype, and most people believe that this dude could potentially challenge for a title fight opportunity in sometime in 2026. So we're taking Murlockanov in this one. We like the odds, pick 'em value, and we simply think that he's just going to be too well-rounded for Alexander Rakic, who obviously is a dude who's well-rounded in his own right, but Murlockanov is a guy with insane pressure. His grappling is next level, and we simply don't think Rakic is going to have the gas tank that the later rounds of this contest will require. So you'll notice Tapology is rolling with Murlockanov. They like this Meatlock as well. 72% going with Azameat, only 28% going with Rakic, and we're obviously there as well. So we're keeping it simple on this one, throwing down an easy 122, net 100, get us back in the winning column, because last week again got kind of zucked via that groin shot Malott. But either way, this should cash. It's a nice looking Meatlock, and one in a prelim headlining spot. We like Azameat. Let us know down low if you do as well, but we'll keep it moving. Down is Ludovic Klein versus Mateus Robisti, and Robisti's a slight dog in this one, coming in at around plus 112. Minus 142 is Ludovic Klein, and you see Meat's pick. For the rest of the way, you'll see his picks. I will offer counter perspectives if I have them, or I will jump in agreement with my boy. But either way, he's picking Robisti. He's going round 1 KO. He thinks this fight won't even be close, and essentially he believes Ludovic Klein got exposed in that recent fight, because it was start to finish a beatdown L for Ludovic, and that was surprising given how dominant Klein had been on his nice recent win streak. So he simply thinks he's probably Dunzo Balunzo, and the best rationale for why Robisti gets this one done is simply in the nickname, right? Because he is a beast. So he's taking Robisti in this one. 70%, however, is rolling with Ludovic Klein, and I'm kind of with Tapology, unfortunately. Like, I like Robisti. I think that the dude is next level toughness, but it seems to me that most Robisti contests are him offering just that, his legendary toughness, yet he seems to continuously be on the wrong end of these absolute brutal beatdown meatdowns. So I think that that's what we're getting here with Robisti, a dude who's tough as nails. Likely you can't finish, but likely eats too many shots, absorbs too much damage, and isn't quite good enough offensively to be able to win close, violent contests. So I'm going to go Ludovic in this one. I like decision, maybe even a round 3 finish, though, because I got to imagine we're getting a hungry Klein coming into this one, and Robisti I simply think is just not quite there. So I'm going Ludovic in this one. Meat is obviously taking Robisti. I'll swap us through, though. It's Ikram Lockram in this one, taking on Iron Turtle, and Ikram is the pick for both of us. We both think that Iron Turtle is a tough, well-rounded dude. We even think that the odds could be closer in this one, but you see Meat's rationale, and I'm just going to piggyback it essentially. Ikram's more complete, right? This is a dude who simply has more tools, will have more to offer, and should just be slightly better, and maybe even have a better gas tank wherever you pin skill set for skill set versus the Iron Turtle. And Iron Turtle, again, super durable, a guy who can go the distance, can absorb a lot of damage, and is very difficult to put away. And in all certainty, this probably should be a pick 'em, but We think that Ikram Lockram is just going to be slightly better everywhere, but anyone who's backing those juicy odds for Iron Turtle, we definitely don't blame, because at plus 200, I mean, we've seen Ikram go into fights before as a sizable favorite and get upset, so who knows if Iron Turtle can pull off the same thing. Either way, though, we're taking Ikram Lockram. Probably by decision is fair, but obviously you see Tapology. They're bullish on that KO, so let us know down below who you are taking and how so, but I'm going to keep this show moving again. Normally this is a two-man affair. It's just a boy this week, so it's Jailton Almeida in this one taking on Alexander Volkov. And you see Meat's pick. He thinks Jailton absolutely ragdolls Volkov. Round 1, easy light work submission, and I am sort of on the other side. I think that people are sleeping on Volkov. This is a dude who, for me, has a fat win streak. He just fought Cyril Gane, got absolutely zucked by the judges. In my opinion, if this fight card wasn't put together and if the UFC and the powers that be behind the scenes didn't absolutely want Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, then Tom Aspinall should be fighting Alexander Volkov on this card, because Volkov got absolutely screwed by the judges. And for me, I'm counting that fight against Cyril as a win and a continuation of his legendary win streak, because this is a dude who's taking out everyone right now, and I think he's going to be too well-rounded for Jailton, who is a 225-pound heavyweight, and he likes to go in there and just bully dudes, bully, beat down, smash, submit. But Volkov is a 7-footer. He's coming in at 285. The dude's big. He's going to be well-rounded. I think he's going to stuff the mini Mendez takedowns that Jailton offers, and Jailton's going to be eating a lot of sniping punches, getting his legs chopped off by Volkov's tree trunks, and I think that ultimately Volkov is going to get a late finish in this one, because I'm off the Jailton hype train. I think the dude is quite good, but against a guy like Volkov, plus 164, that's way too juicy for me. And you can see over at Tapology, I mean, the odds are, again, minus 215 for Jailton, 164 for Volkov, but it's basically 50-50 over at Tapology. So you'll see the split at Tapology. You'll see the split here. Meat, obviously, going ragdoll Almeida, but I'm taking bully beatdown for Volkov, and I'm ultimately going to go by finish. So Volkov by finish is the pick. Meat is taking Jailton round 1. We'll keep it moving, however, a couple to go. Umar Nurmagomedov taking off Mario Bautista, and he's picking Umar. You see Meat's rationale. The grappling he simply thinks will be too much for Mario, who obviously is a guy who's very well-rounded, has extremely talented grappling of his own right, but this could be a ragdoll if Umar is just significantly better than Bautista. And so far, Nurmagomedov has been better than everyone he's fought, especially in that grappling department, but obviously that story didn't work well against Merab, who was one level above where Umar is. So the question becomes, is Umar above everyone else, or is it Merab and then everyone else, is right there? So we'll see. Meat said it could be a ragdoll, but he could also be underestimating Bautista. So who knows in this one who gets it done, but he's pulling for Bautista. I'm pulling for Bautista as well. I think plus 420 is pretty juicy value for him, and this is a guy who's on a fat win streak himself, rarely loses fights, and is rarely unafraid, even as a dog, to go out there and cash. And all the talk from the MMA lab out in Arizona has been that this is an opportunity Bautista has been waiting his entire life for. He seems confident, he seems ready, and he seems unafraid, right? A lot of these guys come into contests against dudes with the last name Nurmagomedov, and they're mentally broken before the fight even starts. You're not getting that with Bautista, so I think these odds are quite juicy for him. I'm rooting for him. I want to pick him, to be honest with you, but it's a tough one. Obviously, there's nothing there at minus 650 for Umar. Anyone who even includes that in a parlay, I think it's a silly move, because Bautista has plenty of life in this one. Ultimately, though, I think that this fight probably will go the distance, and as a result, even if the rounds are close, we're going to get a Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes PFL-like parallel, where if the rounds are even arguable, they're going to go to Umar, and for that reason, I'm going to go Umar, but I think this fight is very close, and I think that by the end of this, people are going to be screaming that Mario Bautista maybe even got robbed. So we'll see if I'm onto something there, but the pick officially will be Umar. The odds are insane, though. So let us know in the comments if this is an absolute ragdoll, and I shouldn't even be giving that much praise to the opponent, but we'll see. Swapping us through, though, it's Mackenzie Dern taking on Verna Jandiroba. It's the co-meet event, and one that is pretty fascinating, right? Because these two women already fought. Dern already smoked Jandiroba, but Jandiroba has been on an absolute tear these last few years and is really making light work of pretty tough opposition. So we'll see what this rematch looks like. You see Meat's rationale. He's obviously picking Mackenzie Dern. He simply thinks that she's locked in with the new squad, and he told me that ever since she faded Broccoli Boy, that she's simply locked in and just has the secret, right? This is someone who Obviously, the UFC is going to be hopeful gets this one done. I mean, they've been trying to prime her for this title position essentially since she joined the promotion a long time ago at this point, and it'd be very fascinating to see if John Jehovah ultimately is the one getting the belt wrapped around a salty and sad Dana, because that will be a sight to see if somehow Dern is the one that's crying in the cage and John Jehovah is the one celebrating, much to the chagrin of the UFC brass. But for this one, I'm going to go, man, I want to pick John Jehovah in this one too. In fact, I am going to pick John Jehovah. I think that as much as the UFC wants this to happen, I don't think it's going to go the distance. I think John Jehovah is going to find a way to get probably a TKO, because I think on the feet, John Jehovah's just been much more exciting lately, and I think she might have the advantage there to where in the 4th and 5th round, I don't know, I can just see the strikes accumulating. And remember that fight with Mackenzie Dern when she was just swinging YOLOs, landing on air? I mean, I think we can get a situation like that, a flustered Mackenzie punching air and John Jehovah finding a way to get this TKO. So I'm rooting for the funniness and the I guess I'm rooting for John Jehovah in this one, but Meat obviously is taking Dern. Everyone is probably taking Dern. UFC obviously wants Dern. All signs point to Mackenzie, but I'm going with the John Jehovah out of left field. But let us know if I'm tripping. Lastly, it's the final one. It's the Meat event. Tom Aspinall taking on Cyril Gane, and you see who Meat is picking. Obviously, he's taking Tom Aspinall. His best summation for a while was simply that first bullet point. You see it, Lockspinall, right? This is Tom Lockspinall. You see the odds for a reason. A dude who wins every fight. Only time he's losing fights is if he's YOLO tearing his knee apart. But beyond that, it's start to finish domination for him. And he thinks that although Tom will get this one done, there obviously is the Cyril Gane R1 YOLO meat bomb chance. I mean, he thinks that's the only opportunity Cyril Gane will have in this one if he just somehow lands a YOLO. But Cyril Gane isn't a dude with, thunderous punishing power. I mean, obviously he took out Bam Bam, but I don't know if he's going to be doing that to Tom Aspinall. Obviously, there's no comp there, so he's probably getting slept or subbed, and Meat even thinks he could be BKFC bound. I mean, this is an opportunity for Gane, the opportunity that he's been primed, similar like Dern for, but if and when he loses this one, it could be to BKFC or maybe over to PFL where he could be the GOAT. Maybe we even get Cyril Gane versus Francis over there. I mean, that's probably the pipe dream of all pipe dreams, but either way, Lockspinall's the pick. I got to agree with him. It's going to be difficult for me to pick against Tom Aspinall at this point. I truly think that the only potentially interesting fight for Aspinall, I mean, obviously some will say Poatan would be interesting. I don't know if I buy that. I think Hamzat might even be more interesting than Aspinall, and sounds probably crazy on face value, but when you really think about it, who else is as well-rounded as Tom? But I think this is a good fight for Tom, a great opportunity for Cyril, obviously, and I do think the odds are disrespectful, right? I mean, I think Cyril should be closer around plus 220, plus 240 in this one, but Aspinall is obviously the pick. Is he going to get a finish in this one, though? He probably will, and it'll probably be later. I think that this is the over 2.5 Aspinall finish, and I think Gane comes out guns blazing, but ultimately the well-roundedness of Tom Aspinall will be too much for him in the end. So I got Lockspinall. Meat obviously has Lockspinall as well. If you made it this far, boys, appreciate you making it all the way through. Again, just your boy this week, but Meat will be back. Let us know in the comments if you like any of our picks. Are you off the bench? Are you at the grill? Let us know what the picks are, and we'll see you next week.